What's going on, y'all? Sports and Layers, episode 3, ready to kick off. We're leading. What is today? Today is January 21st. It's Saturday, so we got the NFL playoffs, divisional round kicking off. We're gonna go over our predictions from last week, look at this week, and kind of talk the state of the NBA as we're now past the midpoint of the season and approaching the All-Star break. So just kind of looking back at our predictions from last week, I'm logging our predictions now just to keep it easier to track. But some of who was perfect. I think Ricky, did you pick who'd you pick for Chargers Jags?
I picked I I picked the Jags.
So and then you picked the Giants, right?
No, I picked the Vikings.
So I think
Stupidly.
D might have been the only one that was perfect last week, actually. With Niners, I think he had the Jags. We all had Niners.
I don't know if he had the Jags. I think he went against us.
He went against us. Oh, so then nobody was perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I think he went against us with the Jags. I think he picked the Chargers.
Okay.
But I would say that
I don't know if anyone picked the
Chargers
Giants.
the
That's the one
Chargers
that
was
D was saying the Vikings are fraudulent. I remember him saying that.
Did he say that?
Yeah, you had left out and we had one back into his picks.
Yep.
But
It's a good
I will
pick.
say though is that like the if you want to talk about fraudulent or front running, it is the Chargers.
Damn.
I don't know what happened. You look at that team and you saw the first half. Like when you get in the red zone in football, you got to score points, and I'm not talking about 3. You have to score 7 points because that can. And they lost by a point.
Right.
If one of those red zone, possessions, they turned that into 7 instead of 3. That game. They are moving on.
So you're blaming their
But-
offense instead of their defense. So you kind of agree with Staley firing the OC after that game?
Oh no, there's layers to it. So this is what I'll sit there and say.
Well,
You
so
get 5 turnovers. You have to punch the ball in. You're up 27-0. They should have been up more. But I will say, instant reaction, I was sitting there blaming the O. But the defense, no, this is what I'll stay on. The offense ran. They didn't run the ball in the second half. Run the ball. You're up. You run the ball. Why are you passing the ball for? Running the ball bleeds the clock. You want the game to get over quickly. But the defense only played one half. It's a 2 half. It's 2 halves in football. You can't sit there and say, okay, we got 4 picks in the first half. It's over. Like, no, you have to play. You have to continue to play. And you can't let up. Once you let up, that happens.
So you do agree with the Chargers keeping Brandon Staley and then Staley firing the OC?
I think that they should have fired the coach.
Agreed.
I agree with that. Personally, so I think that the Chargers, that organization, they're a cheap organization, man. Like, in terms of like, you got Sean Payton, and I'm a black guy, right? We got the Rooney Rule. Of course, we want Brian, like what was it, Eric Bieniemy or whoever, a nice, hot, young African American candidate to get an opportunity. True, but when there's a Super Bowl head coach out on the market, okay, Sean Payton, right? And you've seen back-to-back years where you have one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, all right? And then you have a terrific roster around him, offensively and defensively, okay? So that sounds like, at least the GM is doing his job, okay? But then now you got Staley there, 4th down calls, right? Going forward on 4th down where you're like backed up, okay? Why you going forward on 4th down, okay? You got decisions like playing your starters in a meaningless game in the final game of the season, even though I think before the game they were saying they weren't quite sure if that game was going to be meaningless or not, if they were going to need it. True, but you could have played some starters and sat some of the guys that, dude, Mike Williams has been in and out the lineup all year, right? I don't know if Keenan Allen played that game, but if he did, that would have been awful too. You know what I mean? That dude's been out all year. My only point is like they had an African American head coach, Anthony Lynn, before Staley. Okay, fired him for whatever reason. You got this guy Staley. Why won't you fire him? You know what I'm saying? Why won't you fire him? I don't know. It's interesting. But that's just one team in the NFL. I mean, they got an ill quarterback, which is why it's like disappointing, because like I think they're horribly underachieving with that roster. But
I think here we go. D's journey. I think Staley's on his last leg with the team because I was listening to like the Odd Couple podcast, and a lot of literally the Chargers fans are dialing in. This is before the game, and they're like, yo, they were hoping to lose so Staley could get fired. Like multiple fans calling in, like, we don't agree with how he runs our guys to the ground. We think they need a new voice. Sean Payton's out there. We want Sean Payton. And I feel like once you start hearing the fans rumbling, I think if he doesn't like have better results this upcoming season, and the AFC West was a less letdown in general. Everybody going into the season, me included, thought they were going to be the juggernaut division, and that just didn't pan out. So I think he's got to be on the hot seat going forward.
that would almost be a year too late, no?
I
Sean
agree.
Payton's already looking like he's gonna get
Yeah.
hired by, I think it was the Broncos. It looks like we're gonna hire him. I think they're saying that they're getting close to a deal or something like that, right?
Yeah, that happens. So that what's going to happen is that if they fire him and they realize it, like you said, it's going to be a year too late, and it's going to say, okay, who's the coach? Is that coach you're bringing in going to be better than him? Does it make sense at that
That would
point
be an
when it
absolutely
made more
Charger
sense?
thing to do, right? Like that would be such a Charger thing to do. Like literally fire him a year too late, where there's literally no candidates. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
like it's so stupid. Like
and it's not even just like there's no candidates, but there's no candidates to it with a pedigree of like a Sean Payton, where like
right,
if you
right,
get a
right.
Sean
There's
Payton.
always candidates, but
But yeah, but when you're talking about Sean Payton, you're talking about essentially like a veteran-led team. Like you have, guys like Khalil Mack and like Joey Bosa. You spent collateral on these guys. You're paying. You just paid Derwin James. You're gonna have to play Herbert. You have a decision to make. That are you gonna keep Keenan Allen because his salary is creeping up there.
and he's what
So
is he,
you
30,
need
31?
yeah, exactly. So you have big decisions that you have to make, and I look at that team and I'm saying like last year he cost y'all a chance to go to the playoffs. This year, decisions he cost y'all, in the playoffs, in actual the playoffs. I mean, you're not telling me that Mike Williams couldn't have help in the red zone, but no, let's play him the last game of the season and let him get hurt. Football, you're gonna get hurt, but my whole thing knows that how can we minimize the risk? And you could have minimized that risk the last game of the season, but you decided to play him for no reason. And I mean, that's why they're staying home right now. And shout out to the Jags though.
Right.
Shout out to the Jags.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
Trevor Lawrence, put the team on his back. The defense balled out in the second half, and the offense did their thing as well. And it just like a kind of like a testament as far as, and even with like these younger quarterbacks, is like don't write them off. Like I think that you should give them at least a couple years before you try to label this or that with them, because coaching this thing matters, and also the NFL is hard. You're not going to come in the league and be an MVP or anything right off bat. Like you got to remember, Pat Mahomes at least sat a year. Yeah, so,
and my other thing, the reason why I agree with looking at Sean Payton, the QB whisperer, like he's gonna help your young QB, because like I was saying before my prediction with that game, like what has Herbert done? You know what I mean? And I feel like this puts him a leg back. Now I'm personally going to look at Trevor Lawrence as a better, someone that's someone advancing in his career more quickly than Herbert, which could be right or wrong. But it's like, again, looking at Herbert's numbers, they're all, I mean, they're great. He had 5,000 yards last year, was pretty much on pace for that this year.
I
He's
don't
like a
think
30 touchdown, 10 pick kind of guy. His QB ratings consistently like mid to high 90s. But I just
he
want to see
never had
him
a
win the big
season
game.
under 4,000 passing yards,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yep. He had, his small, like it was 4,300 his first year.
dude,
And he missed
statistically,
a
that's
couple games.
amazing.
Yeah, he missed a couple games this year with the rib injury. So this year he was on pace for 5,000 because he had 4,700. But yeah, I think that
Statistically, man, this guy, like, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. If you look at their skill set, size-wise, skill set and whatnot, him and Trevor Lawrence are kind of comparable a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what you're gonna see happen, is maybe Trevor Lawrence from now going forward isn't the kind of stat monster that Herbert's gonna be. But dude, he's gonna win a lot more, man. Trevor Lawrence has been a winner everywhere he's been. They said that stat, like he's never lost on Saturday or something like that in high school or the NFL. He ain't never lost on a Saturday. He's playing Saturday against the Chiefs. Anybody going for Trevor Lawrence? You know what I mean? Like anybody checking Trevor Lawrence?
Sounds like Peyton versus Brady all over.
Was Herbert anointed too quickly?
Yes, bro. Like I think so. Everybody's
what has he done? He hasn't done shit.
Thank you.
It's the coaching, guys. You guys don't think it's the coaching or no?
I mean, he's ill. Like he has the cannon arm. He's throwing like
he's white. He has the prototype body. He's good looking. I think they tend to like
good looking
anoint these guys, man.
They want him to be next, right? They want him to be next.
Like
I swear they want Josh Allen to win a dude. The NFL wants nothing more than Josh Allen to win a chip. Seriously, they tell you
this year especially.
But Josh Allen's not going to beat Pat Mahomes, bro. It's not going to happen. It's not happening this year. He might lose to Joey Burrow.
So D, who'd you have in that Chargers game? Because we're recapping our picks from last round, from the wild card round.
I wanted to pick the Chargers, but I stayed with the Jags.
You stayed with the Jags.
Yeah.
So did you get all your picks right then? I think you were the only one.
Damn, did I?
Because we all picked Niners and Cincy. You picked Dallas, right?
I did pick Dallas.
So that would mean you were the only one to get all yours right if you picked the Jags. We can double check that, but
I think I picked the Jags as well.
I thought we all picked the Jags. Yeah.
I picked most
everybody.
Of us,
I know everybody.
The Vikings game that got most of us mixed up.
Yeah, I definitely chose the Vikings.
I picked the Vikings.
Yeah. Vikings had me fooled, man.
Oh, you picked the Vikings? Oh wow.
Yeah, the thing with the Vikings is I've been saying the whole season that they were frauds, but I was just like, you know what? They're gonna win this week, and then they're gonna win last week, and then next week they're gonna show us that they're the frauds. But no, they showed us in the wild card round, as they should have, right?
Vikings messed us all up last week. Then,
like, has Kirk Cousins ever performed well in the playoffs ever in his career ever? Like one moment, like Dak Prescott. I remember the playoff game against who was it? Green Bay. What year was that? They lost though, but it was a great game. They lost by like one ill throw by what's his name? Aaron Rodgers late to lose that game. But Dak was so ill. Like Dak has had moments in the playoffs, even though Dak ain't really ill. Like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or like Lamar Jackson has at least won a playoff game. Like Kirk Cousins, I don't remember him ever doing a damn thing in the playoffs.
To be real, his numbers weren't bad that game. 31 to 39, 273, 2 tutties, no picks. But it was that last drive, that last throw when it was like 4th and like 10 or 8, and he throws it like to somebody that's like 3 or 4 yards deep who doesn't break a tackle.
Charlie.
Yo,
Yeah, it was just like that was a quick decision.
That was like the most cook shit
It
ever.
would be one thing if the guy had some space and could make a move, maybe a back, but it was like a tight end with a linebacker all over.
And what's up with the Justin Jefferson fucking disappearing act, yo? Like this dude for the best receiver in the game, he be having games where he gets shut down, like one catch.
Yeah.
Bro, that never happens to Devontae Adams.
That's alarming.
Seriously, dude. And Devontae be playing with bum ass, like, you know what I mean?
Quarterback.
Who's name at the end of the year he was playing with?
Jarrett Stidham.
Whose name is the
Jarrett Stidham.
Whatever Stidham dude.
He was still.
Devontae's out here balling with Stidham. You know what I'm saying?
Like
how can that happen to the best receiver in the game? One catch.
That's a great point.
3 catches. Like I
maybe
feel
he's
and
not.
Honestly,
maybe he's not.
I don't agree with blow ups on the sidelines, but dude, like if you're that dude at receiver, it's a playoff game. You ain't getting no catches. I need to see you blowing up on the sideline, screaming for the ball. Come on, man. You gotta be a dog.
I think that's a little excessive.
Is it?
Like you don't want it because then they're gonna throw that diva tag on you. Like I mean maybe he's just not that dude. I mean extremely talented wide receiver, but I mean he's still this was his second year, right? Maybe he's not.
Yeah, he's admitted that Devontae still
his
is
third year.
His third year, my bad.
But still,
my bad. Damn, LSU had both of them at the same time. That's fucking crazy.
And they had they had some and they had Jamar Chase.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they had all them. Yeah, that team was stacked.
That's wild. Yeah.
And then the other 2 games are the Seahawks Niners. What about let's go Seahawks Niners? What was y'all reaction to that game?
I think that it went how I thought it probably would go. I think that the book came out on the Seahawks. I think the offense became kind of rather, let's say, pedestrian as the season went on, as people got more tape. It feels like they're still missing another explosive element to their team.
Even with Metcalf and Lockett.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like
and Walker. I mean, he's not a bum.
I mean, I just feel that they would like. I don't know. Their offense doesn't seem like it has pop. I mean, is it Geno holding them back?
I think Eric quarterback away. Like,
Geno. I mean,
the fact that they made the playoffs this year, like they're in the league over there. You know what I mean? And the fact that like everything they did this year was all gravy, right? And what Geno did for himself, I don't know what his contract situation is, but he definitely earned himself some money. You know
so y'all think
that's literally
I agree with you, TG. Like what they did to this year was gravy. I mean, especially when you look at what happened with the Broncos and they sucked. Y'all sucked for us. They had a great draft. I mean, with that pick, they got a great left tackle. They're gonna have another top 5 pick. They can ultimately just say we're gonna either add to the team or we're gonna go ahead and draft QB of the future. But I think that here's my question, that I was gonna, my theory that's gonna bring up, and it ties into, that you see the 49ers, they have studs. They have studs across the board. You got McCaffrey, you got Ayuk, you got Kittle, you got Samuel on offense. You have Nick Bosa, you got Fred Warner. You got who's the is it Ward?
Various.
And then you have the safety. Is he a rookie or a second-year player? He just made All-Pro. I can't even pronounce his name. But you got studs.
Or whatever.
Yeah, then you got Greenlaw. Like you got studs across.
49ers got the best roster in the NFL.
Yeah.
They got the best roster.
Here's the thing, and here's the theory that I have, and this is like when you look at the Seahawks. Do you build, let's say, just a elite roster and say, I can plug in a quarterback here, especially if you have a scheme that's friendly to QBs. I can sit here and I can plug a Brock Purdy in there, and we can make some noise, and maybe ultimately win a ship.
They might be writing the book on that, honestly.
So, but here's my question is that I feel though is that here's my question is I feel though is that it's easier, I feel though, is to find that stud elite wide receiver or whatever the great wide receiver rather than the quarterback. You're going to spend so much more capital on that quarterback position where you can sit there and say, if I have, let's say, just a average to good quarterback, I can win. And you can find those guys, every year. And I don't have to waste draft capital. They spent 3 first-round picks to trade up to get Trey Lance. What if they just took a quarterback and, use their picks on other parts of the roster? And we still don't even know if Lance is that guy. And that's the thing that always just like made me curious about the NFL is when they look at and people deem quarterbacks to be franchise guys and teams get, all juiced up for him and they trade their future for it. And it's like, you don't even know if he can be a bust or not. So I just think that maybe you can just build your roster around and to say, I can plant a quarterback in here and we can see how it works.
That safety you were referring to, Talanoa Hufanga, that's their safety that made the Pro Bowl. 75 tackles, 8 pass breakups, 4 picks, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles with a pick 6.
Like a Troy Polamalu type dude.
Did y'all get to picks for this weekend yet?
Not yet. We're doing reactions from last week, but to answer Rick's question, I think they're writing up the formula on it, but they're not the first team to do it. I feel like that's what the Patriots did with Tom Brady in his early years. Like we had a rookie QB. I mean, we see it a lot when the QB is not making a ton of bread. You get like even honestly, the Cowboys with Dak early on in his career, like they were paying the line, they were paying other players around him. And you just saw the team. You just saw like a solid QB manager take the team a step forward. And so I think that's what the Niners are doing because literally they had Trey Lance. We never really saw him he got hurt. Second game, first game. Jimmy G, who I love as a QB, he probably still has him in the position they're in if he doesn't go down. And now you got Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, coming in and balling. I think they're writing the book on how to build a team because with all these teams putting $50 million into their QB or
exactly
Aaron Rodgers, like, oh, I want the max deal. That you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, so that's going to take away from other positions. I think to your point, Rick, if you build that strong team to the point where like Seattle could be another example where you
exactly that's exactly what I was tying into
a high as far as QB Geno, like it can work out.
But that's what I'm saying. As far as we gotta make sure we don't make that mistake, like thinking, any team can just replicate this because I think it's more of a Kyle Shanahan thing. I don't think Kyle Shanahan has ever had a poor performance with any quarterback.
Right. You gotta have a QB friendly
Matt
offense,
Ryan, going back to
the
even
scheme,
Nick Mullins and all the bums he's had over there. You know what I mean? Like it's
the scheme has to be
Kyle
friendly.
Shanahan thing as opposed to a Brock Purdy or dropping any quarterback thing. You know what I mean? It might just be a coaching thing.
Yeah, and it could be, but I feel though is that I don't think that. I mean, I can see that, but I still think that like teams like the Seahawks and Lions have a question to ask because let's not be frank. Jared Goff he went to a Super Bowl,
but that's a number 1 pick though.
And he got the Lions looking legit this year.
No, I'm saying as far as what the Lions are going to do, because people are trying to tag the Lions as taking a quarterback when they could sit there and say, we got 2 first-round draft picks. We can go ahead and build the rest of our team. Because there was questions about them just replacing Jared Goff. But no, my point more so is our team's going to continue to keep spending said capital, especially in a draft, when you don't know if that quarterback is the guy or not. And if he's not the guy, because there's so much riding on it because you spent so much, that could cripple your team because you're talking about trading, 2 years worth of draft picks for 1 player.
I see what you're saying.
And overpaid.
I see what you're saying. I don't think teams aren't going to try to follow this 49ers. Yo, let's use our draft picks. Because, dude, number one, you got to hit on your picks.
No, for sure.
They have a strong defense, too.
The 49ers are hitting on their picks, right? Yep. That's number one. And then number two, you got to have the coach that could put all this together. You feel me? So the 49ers are, to me, one of one, right? And then they probably got the best GM in the league. This dude look at who he's pulling off. Picked up, what's his name? Christian McCaffrey. Are you kidding me? The best running back in the league. You know what I'm saying? So you on the low, like as an organization, they might just be the illest organization after Tom Brady walked away from New England. The Patriots, after that, we kind of, put that aside and left it open. They probably took it over. Now they just got to win. Now they just got to win a Super Bowl.
To your point, they've been, the last 14, and probably the last, going on 4 or 5 years now. I mean, I'm sure there was a year maybe where they didn't, they weren't, but I mean, they were in the Super Bowl. Not
at the COVID year.
The COVID year. I mean, the roster by and large is pretty much, the same guys since then. So, I mean, you might be onto something when you say that.
They had a lead in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. They had a lead in that game. They had the lead.
I mean, I get it.
They had Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback.
I get that they may be one-on-one, but I feel though is that they are showing another avenue.
Just gotta win the thing.
I think that they're showing another avenue as far as just like team building that may go away from just, we have to sacrifice everything to find a franchise quarterback. And also you're putting so much onto the quarterback where you can build up. You have to draft well, you have to trade, your trades have to, be, go well. And also your free agency, you have to, to pick the right players. But I feel that they're just another formula to not having to spend everything onto finding that quarterback, because as you look at a team like, the Broncos, or even the jury's still out as far as with the Browns with Watson, you spend so much capital with money and draft picks where it can cripple you, where it's like, is he, that guy? And that's what you're about to find out if someone's going to ultimately trade for Lamar Jackson or not.
Yeah. And it feels like if you don't have those pieces around them, like paying the QB heals a lot of your wounds, like a Aaron Rodgers or something can make up for that lack of coach and defense, etc. But yeah, that was a good one. So what about this one? The next two, we were like off in terms of like thinking these might have been blowouts, especially the Dolphins, Bills. I think D had the closest margin on this, but we all thought like the Dolphins stood no chance. They had a late lead. They put up a fight. What's y'all's reaction to that game, that AFC East matchup?
The wide receivers let them Skylar Thompson down a little bit.
Yeah, they do a lot of drops.
That was pretty disappointing.
Yeah. What happened with what's his name? Not Tyreek Hill. What's that other dude's name? The young kid.
Waddle.
Yeah, what happened with him?
He pulled a Houdini,
bro. Like, how can these superstar players disappear in the biggest games? I don't get it. How does that happen?
To be fair, there were drops by receivers on the Bills too. It seemed like the sun was kind of getting in people's eyes or something like that, but still, it's the playoffs. There's really no excuses.
Right. Like the Bills, I think they're down a big time safety, right? Like the Bills, they weren't like perfect too. Like they had some people out and all that. I mean, they're down DeMar Hamlin, like, you know what I mean? So it's like they were down bodies too. You feel me? So like, I don't know. It's just interesting to me, like these receivers, man, like down the stretch, it's like it seems like the position receiver, right? It's so valuable throughout the regular season. But like when it comes down to it, man, like in the postseason, you gotta have a good running game. You gotta have good trenches like players, like O-line, D-line. Personally, like, so with that Philly Giants game, that's going to show you how NFL teams really should build their teams, bro. It shouldn't be trying to build this whole ill roster or whatever. Get the O-line fixed, get the D-line fixed, which is what Philly did. Look at Philly. They literally last season, they're a completely different team from this year.
I would sit there and say that acquiring AJ Brown helps out a lot as well. And, also, having guys like Darius Slay and James Bradbury who are, either they're all pro or they're right there. That's, I understand, as far as in the trenches because, the other acquiring elite talent is getting in the trenches as well. I look at, but to the Bills though, their offense has seemed to regress to the old Josh Allen, where it's like, why are they throwing it so deep so much? Like, it seems like if they continue that, I think that they can get blown out by Cincinnati tomorrow.
Cincinnati.
Interesting.
Let's quickly go through these last two and then jump into this week. So Ravens, Bengals. That one was crazy. That could have went to OT. I was shocked.
Coaching. John Harbaugh.
Yep.
Was bad down the stretch. I don't like some of the play calls. I didn't like Tyler Huntley with a dive. He's not Cam Newton.
That was a crazy play.
He was not Cam Newton.
Right. Like, wow, what were they thinking? The play looked so cooked when he went in the air. I'm like, why is he going in the air like that?
It's been I can't think of the last time I saw like that how do I say this? Like momentum shifting play like that. In the playoffs. I can't think of the last time. Like you literally that's a 14-point swing.
So that happened in the third quarter, right? That play. I think that play happened like late.
That was
in the
like
third.
at the end of the
Yeah.
It was late in the third.
No, there was still still like it might have been early fourth or late.
But the way that game was being played, you knew that was over.
I think that was that was the last score. There was no points were scored after that touchdown. I think that was it. Like nobody else scored after that. That was literally the game sealing play. And it was like the Ravens could have scored on that play.
Right.
What a wild game, man. Like
wild card. And then
also you factor in at the end of the game, J.K. Dobbins gets a first down with a minute and 3 seconds left. They don't snap the ball until 30 seconds later. That's coaching.
Yeah, that was cooked. I didn't like that.
I didn't notice that.
I'm looking at it like, wait, what are they doing? What are you doing? And like, it didn't make sense.
I didn't even notice that. Damn.
Yeah, they burnt too much because they were trying to prevent the Bengals from having another opportunity to score, assuming they would have tied it.
But you can't worry about that, especially in the playoffs. Like you're taking 30 seconds is an eternity in football.
I think if they had Lamar Jackson, they coach different. You coach different, man. And honestly, like if you have Lamar Jackson, you're probably up. You're probably not. With the way that game was going, and honestly, on that run from Snoop Huntley, if that's Lamar Jackson, he definitely gets in the end zone. But it's to Snoop Huntley, he's slightly a little slower, and the safety's able to just get him at the 1 yard line. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
One player on the Ravens say after the game, we win that game with Lamar Jackson. I don't know who it was.
It was the running back that said that.
It was Dobbins.
Yeah,
it was Dobbins.
Sammy Watkins was saying before the game, like, yo, I would be out there even if I was hobbling, like, we need Lamar. He's like, I know I'm being selfish. I thought it was odd for Sammy.
That's mad selfish.
That's Tony Parker vibes right there.
Facts, dude. You don't know this dude's body. What the hell?
It's like you've been hurt half your damn career. What do you mean, like hobble out?
Right. It's so funny how like that messenger he's the one that's freaking
like. Yeah, people are always managing Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins is a first round bust
on injuries. Who wants to hear Sam Watson's on injuries?
I mean, someone named RG3 would know about how being playing in the playoffs with a knee brace when you got a sprain or whatever the case is, because people forget a sprain is just a slight tear. So it's not like, oh, it's your knee is like fully intact. So Lamar goes out there and further damages himself.
Right.
And it wasn't worth it. And I think that Dobbins was wrong for saying it. That's something I guess you say in private.
Not say that.
Can't say that.
You do not say
that.
Also,
you can't.
Also, Mike, real quick on the subject, because Michael Vick got a lot of heat for saying that Michael Vick is a company man. He works for Fox. Come on,
how is Michael Vick a company man now? Like, how did this happen? Michael Vick's a company man, dude. Randy Moss.
What did he
is a motherfucking company man.
Yeah. What did he say?
He just said you gotta basically
put a brace on it and play, right? Like,
pretty much. Go play.
It's just funny to me, like. It's just funny how these dudes were when they were players, but then all of a sudden, now that media, they're like company men. I
mean, hey,
this is interesting.
Get it how you get it, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, nah. And
it's just
Delta,
funny, Michael Vick.
And Delta to the last game, I would sit there and say it was probably blind faith in picking Tampa, but that team showed us who they were all season. That team was 8-9 for a reason.
So I'm pissed off at that game as a Bucs fan because I feel like some of that L came down to coaching. Like,
why is everyone blaming the coaches?
So check this out, right? First of all,
why can't we blame Tom Brady? Tom Brady was terrible.
Yes, he was terrible.
Y'all want to hear me out? Here's my thing. The refs miss a blatant holding call on the first 2-point conversion. Blatant holding call. That should have been called back. So that's 2 points off the board. Whatever. Let's ignore that. There was a point when the Bucs were in the red zone later in the game, and they choose to go for it on fourth when they're down 25. And they had the opportunity to kick a field goal. If they hit that field goal, they're down 22. And that ended up hurting them because technically, Mike Evans had the huge drop. But if they take those 3 points and then what they lose, 31-14, if you have the 3 points is 31-17 and Mike Evans makes that catch, all of a sudden it's a one possession game with 1:53. It's a 7-point game. It's 24-31. And you're kicking off with all 3 timeouts. So it's like, to me, like the fact
that's a best case scenario now.
Best case, it is,
right.
But like to me, it was just points left on the board. Like I was frustrated watching that, and then people are getting on Brady about how bad he was. Like it wasn't the easiest game to watch him throwing away, dinking and dunking, and throwing away so many passes. But like at the end of the day, he kept them in it. But yeah, I mean, like 31-14 is 31-14. I thought it was a closer game than what the scoreboard showed. And then the other thing with coaching is that 4th and 4. How the hell do you let somebody just get a wide open walk in the end zone touchdown? Like that was all like, come on.
Dell,
I thought the
there's
issue
one
with the
play
Bucs,
that you missed. Hold on, TG. Dell, you forgot to mention the Brady interception in the red zone. You can't have that.
There we go.
You can't have that, Dell.
And Brady never does that. Brady never throws picks in the red zone.
Especially when he was on the Bucs. I want to say that may have been his
never
first.
does that shit.
That was literally his first. Yeah. Like his first was 2019.
Definitely.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Red zone picks in 2019. They were showing, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's his first one with the Bucs that he's thrown in the red zone, and you cannot have that.
What a time to have that.
Yeah, you cannot have that. So that's points that you took off the pool, whether it's 3 or 7. That's points that, that's a terrible. But there was a lot of throws. I look at it and I sit there and say, you could say coaching, but their team wasn't good enough.
That team, and to Dell's point, I'm completely on the other side of that. I don't think it was. I think 31.
It wasn't close.
No, that game was not close at all.
It wasn't close at all.
There was a clear talent gap disparity, whatever you call
it. And speaking on team building, this is what not to do with teams. You have to get better, because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. The Bucks never changed their team. They never added to their team. They
signed Julio Jones.
They've kept the band back together.
I could have told you Julio's not going. Like, what was that?
Yeah, he did have that Hill touchdown catch though.
That was like a last hurrah type.
Right.
Like, yeah. That was funny.
Yeah. I mean, I just look at the Bucks. They stay stagnant since they won the ship. They thought, let's keep everybody back. We're bringing all 11 starters on defense.
22 starters. Maybe that's.
And if you, like you said, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So there was no addition to their team that you sat there and said, okay, they never did anything, and it showed, because each year they've gotten, they became a worse team. Like, you're talking about Super Bowl champions to losing in the divisional round to having a sorry division. Basically, you fall into 8 and 9, and you still win a division, and then you get trounced in the first round because you didn't belong there.
Damn.
I still give the majority of the blame for this season. Obviously Tom Brady comes into Tampa, past 2 seasons, give him all the credit. Winning the Super Bowl in his first year, making it to the playoffs second year, give him all the credit. But dude, this season, he ran that team to the ground. And they had some injuries that did not help at all.
Right.
But dude, Tom Brady missing, 11 days during like the training camp or whatever. Dude, that's time you need with your team or whatever. You feel me? Then during the season, this dude misses time, to go to Robert Kraft's like wedding or some shit. And then in that the game that they played that weekend, they lost. And that's the weekend where Tom Brady was yelling at his old lineman. Like, dude, Tom Brady, to me, honestly, did not play well at all this season. Todd Bowles coached horribly all year. I will give you that. Todd Bowles was a bad head coach. And it's hard to say because he's an ill defensive coordinator. He was a bad head coach all year. So all of these things combining, you're having people dropping like flies on your team, injury after injury. Tom Brady's playing bad. And then from Tom Brady playing bad, now it trickles down to the whole team. Now playoff Lenny can't run the ball no more. He forgot how to run the ball. They can't run no more. Okay? Mike Evans can't catch no more. Dropping passes all over the place. You know what I mean? So it's like, personally, I just feel like Tom, like his biggest thing was he elevates everyone. This season, he brought that whole team down.
He didn't do that. Also, real quick, they didn't have a running game whatsoever.
I mean, they were down the whole game, though.
Well, no, but just in general, they
all year they didn't have a running game.
I think they had like 1,200 rushing yards on the year as a football team, which is pretty absurd, honestly.
That's ridiculous. Like you can say it's coaching, but like, and some of that is like, I mean, the old line, they had their injury luck was horrible. Like, in some years you do have like Baltimore, I think, wasn't it last year? Baltimore had like no running backs on that were healthy. Like everybody, they were like completely decimated. Like you have those years, you know what I mean? But like, this is football, dude. Like, yeah, but the Bucks, personally, honestly, like they're done. Like Tom Brady's obviously leaving, right? He's either gonna retire or go to another team. They just fired Brian Leftwich for whatever reason. I don't know. Because they're probably gonna fire Todd Bowles this season.
Yeah.
They're definitely firing Todd Bowles this year.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was the point of firing Byron Leftwich? You know what I mean? Like, it was just dumb. Now they're gonna look for a new, like, that team is just awful. You know, they're done.
He rushed.
Right. I'm like, he's getting his feelings.
Well, aren't they? But think about it. If Tom Brady's definitely, and think about it, Tom Brady's about to be 47. Like, dude, is this dude playing? Is he gonna be balling at 50? Like, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, like, let's go here, man. Like,
but
we saw him play this year.
Let's go to the divisional round now, so that we get our picks in here. We got 2 games today. Let's go same as last week. Give your pick and the score. We got Jacksonville at KC as our first game, 4:30 Eastern.
I think that the Cinderella story of the Jacksonville Jaguars is done after tonight.
Wow.
To tie into
the Cinderella's done.
Yeah, I think they're done today. But to tie in, it's kind of ironic the fact that Brian Leftwich rejected the Jags job, and now look at him. It's crazy how a year.
Well, I mean, Tom Brady. I mean, yeah.
Wait, so when just one question: when Byron Leftwich rejected that job, did they have Trevor Lawrence?
Yes, it was last year.
Wow.
But who's are you passing up to a rookie quarterback or Tom Brady? Is that really like a crazy decision?
I mean, when you think about it, Trevor Lawrence has his whole career.
This is a head coaching job, though, man. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, he got they won the Super Bowl with him, no? Leftwich?
Yeah, he's been there. But he was there before Brady.
He was there when Jameis Winston went 30 for 30. But like, so he's shown he can offensive coordinate. You know what I mean? I didn't think I thought that was like I didn't realize that they had Trevor Lawrence when he rejected that job. That's crazy.
And what's your score for that, Rick? You said Kansas City.
The score is going to be, I think it's going to be 31-20.
Okay. D or TG, either one of y'all could go next.
I'll let TG go.
So for the Chiefs against the Jags, I like the Jags coach, right? I like that coach. But honestly, I like Peterson. But dude, man, Trevor Lawrence, man, that first half does scare me because like he is prone to turnovers. He does fumble a lot. He definitely will throw the pick. He's ill, but he will definitely give you the ball.
Right.
And this is Patrick Mahomes, okay? And he has an ill head coach. This is Andy Reid. You ain't playing Brandon Staley or whoever they played last game. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm definitely going Chiefs, right? Okay. But now the score, that's interesting, right? The score. Let me think real quick. Definitely Chiefs are going to score over 30. I'm just trying to think, how much realistically do you think the Jags are going to score this game? Right? So the Jags, I'm going to go 31-24. I'm going to say it's a close game.
Okay.
I'm going to go 31-24. It's going to be a close game. I'm even thinking it might be a slightly higher scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm even thinking the Chiefs might even win it by as much as double digits, but for now, I'm going to just go 31-24.
I'm gonna go 28-27 Chiefs.
Wow.
Last minute game winning drive, Patrick Mahomes. They look like they're on the brink probably the entire game, and then what do you know?
Right.
Mahomes pulls it up. That's my narrative of the game.
It would fit that Trevor Lawrence, story with the whole his Saturday record. It might come down to being like that. Dude, it might. He's gonna definitely make Patrick work for that win. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a cakewalk.
We'll see.
I also have it being a one possession game. I got it as a shootout though. I'm going Kansas City 42, Jags 34.
40.
Damn, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on the high end here.
It's the playoffs still.
I mean, if you let the Chargers go up 27 with 5 turnovers, imagine what that score would have been if it was KC.
That's what I'm thinking too.
So
but you think the Jazz can score 31? What was it, 34?
34. I'm going out on a limb a little here, but I'm gonna go with a higher scoring game. Still think it'll be close, but I think the Chiefs just ultimately have too much firepower for the Jags to keep up.
Okay.
And then for the night game, we got Giants at Philly. This is tonight at 8:15.
Giants.
I can't wait for this one.
FC East. Yeah, what y'all got for this?
I got the Giants winning.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Really?
What?
Dayball. Dude, I like
Okay.
that dude Dayball, man. Seriously, that dude Dayball's real, man.
He's an ill
28-24.
Wow.
Okay. Tell me more.
Why? Yeah. Why you?
No, I just think that is. I think it's a like I said, it's a divisional game. I feel those that Philly had to play, so they kind of showed their hand the last game of the season. They were playing for obviously the bye. So I think the Giants rested their starters. I just think that
smartly.
To TD's point as far as in offense and defense, in the trenches. You're talking about in the running game that they were able to rejuvenate Saquon, whether he's running or pass catching. Daniel Jones can also run the ball. What did he run it like 17 times or something? Like
like 77 yards.
Yeah, his legs are crazy.
And then you also talk about someone like Dexter Lawrence who's pushing the pocket as like he's supposed to be like a run stopper. And he had almost 30 pressures this year, and you're talking about a man of his size. So
who are you talking about, Leonard?
No, Dexter Lawrence.
Oh damn! I'm not even.
And then if you're talking about the last game, and people say why did Kirk Cousins throw the ball short of the sticks?
Yeah.
If you look at the play, Dexter Lawrence is in his face. So
he was under pressure. I mean,
like you're sitting there, and people you can sit there and say, why you throw it? Like you're not looking at the other aspect of it, but also you have
Lawrence, you got Thibodeau,
you got Elise, you got Thibodeau, Elise Ojulari, you got Leonard Williams.
That D line might be underrated. That is facts. Yeah. They might be a better D line than most.
And Adoree Jackson held Justin Jefferson in check. So
they weren't they doubling him a lot?
But they put out a stat that when he did have him, like I guess single, he didn't catch much on him.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, he didn't catch much at all. So like whatever they did to him, you know what I'm saying? That was still whatever they did to him.
It's not Slay locking him up. Who? Oh,
Adoree Jackson.
Damn, because Slay is the what is that?
Slay's
he's the
Philly. He's on Philly.
Slay's on Philly, yeah.
This is the Giants defense. Oh, okay. Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, who y'all got? Who's y'all?
Yo, but I like what you said about I like how you put the Giants because honestly, I'm even the one like that's guilty of underestimating their D line. Cause like the way when you think about it, Lawrence, Thibodeau, that D line is a lot better than honestly like what they get credit for. So like when you think about it, it's gonna be a battle in the trenches, man. Like it's gonna be a real good game, right? And the coaching staff, honestly, dude, Sirianni's he's proven a good young head coach. Yeah. Well, Dayball might be an ill coach though.
I like Dayball.
So like seriously, he just has a feel to him. And Dayball's I think he's part of Belichick's tree. I think that might be a Belichick guy, right? So I think he's the one that was texting. He was trying to text.
I was waiting.
And then he texted the wrong Brian or some shit, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the Dayball, right?
He would say you got the job, right?
No, he
texted the wrong dude, right? He texted Brian Flores.
I fucked this up.
Yeah.
But so my point is like, damn, this is crazy, yo. Like, wow, I was literally thinking Philly. But
also, you gotta factor in Wink Martindale as well, the defensive coordinator, who was a defensive coordinator for Baltimore all those years as well.
And that's an LD coordinator.
Yeah. So,
damn, yo, dude. Honestly, I think Rick got a point there. And honestly, like, I don't know if Jalen Hurts is healthy, man. And I personally love the O-line, D-line combo. They do got that number one receiver. Oh man, this is tough. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go Philly. I'm gonna go Philly.
Okay.
Oh,
But
wow.
this is going to be the best. This might be the best game of the weekend. You know what I mean? This game, I'm thinking, is definitely coming down to a field goal. Right?
Okay.
Somebody's going to be down, okay, and need that field goal to win. I'm gonna go Philly. I'm gonna go Philly 36. Giants 33. Philly wins by a field goal in OT. I say it goes into OT.
Wow.
Bro, that's a crazy number though. 36.
Okay. Right. Like, you got a wild
36 points with an
might have a
overtime. So it's
safety in
not
there
going to be
for
like, there's going to be some time where they're scoring, but it's going to be a lot of defense. People going to get hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a good game, man. It's going to be a fun game.
OT right, that's a bonus point if you get the OT right, honestly.
We'll see. I'm thinking that's going to be an OT game, I think.
All right.
What you think, D?
So, I mean, yeah, it's gonna come down to obviously Jalen Hurts. How's that shoulder doing? I think he'll be all right. I'm sure that week off didn't hurt. I'm going to go. This is one I've been struggling with all week. But again, I think I'm of the mindset that when Booger McFarland said this before the Dallas Bucks game. It might have been before or during, I can't remember, but again, when teams show you who they are throughout the entire season, believe them. And that's not to say that the Giants are a bad team, but I'm gonna go with Philly. I'm gonna go with Philly. I think they win. I'm gonna go Philly. I think their defense shows up in a big way. I think they get a defensive score, or a special team score, and that's gonna be probably the difference. Score. Give me Eagles. 27-20.
Ooh, okay.
7. Okay.
Do you have like a late game-winning drive type of deal, or is it just like?
No, I think maybe some late window dressing by the Giants. So maybe they score late, and they make the score look a little prettier.
Damn. Okay, y'all brought up some really good points on both teams.
A lot of. Sorry, I think the spread is 7. I just realized. I believe the spread is 7.5. So yeah, a lot of people might be angry, but yeah, Giants cover 27-20.
I'm gonna double check the spread right now. I'm seeing Philly +4. Wait, Philly.
Oh wow!
Nah, that's not the right spread. That's not the right game. My bad. Philly versus New York Giants. New York Giants. It is 1 second, and I can tell you what I've got. I have it as a close game as well. Oh damn! It's right now. It's like Giants +8. Wow. So Philly -8.
More money's coming on Philly.
Yeah.
Late.
So damn, that's actually kind of surprising. I have it as a close game. I think Philly takes this one. I think it will be down to the wire. Similar to TG, I have a game-winning field goal, but more of a traditional score, 31-28. I think we do see Hurts come back looking good, recovering from the shoulder, because he did have time off during the regular season. He played a little bit in that last game, but I think he's had a lot of time to heal. So I'm leaning on, you know, the mentality that he's like 90%, 85% and can go out there and get the win. So I'm gonna go with Philly 31-28. And then that brings us to our Sunday games, which is both kind of lit. We got Cincy at Buffalo at 12. Uh I'll go first on this. Let's make something. I'll go first on this. I actually have Cincy taking this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
I think he cements himself this year as being like honestly in the same tier as Pat Mahomes. But personally, I think if he goes through Josh Allen and Patty Mahomes, I already have him as being better than Patty Mahomes. It could argue Patty Mahomes is more talented. If you win 3-0 versus a guy in playoffs and regular season, to me, you're better than that guy. Like, I don't care what the hype is. So I personally have Joe Burrow above Patty Mahomes. I think he has a chance this year to get everyone else on board. I think since he pulls it off, I think this will be a shootout. I'm gonna go Cincy like 35-31. I think there will be a chance for like a game winning drive towards the end by Josh Allen, but I'll have him coming up short. So I got Cincy 35-31.
Wow.
That was a lot said there, man.
I know, yeah.
That was a lot to digest.
That was nice. So honestly, this year is like the first year that is like, dude, like the NFL is in such good hands going forward with some of the young ill quarterbacks that we got going on, and some of like the other ill teams that are coming up. You know, you got the Jags coming up or whatever, Giants coming up. Whoever wins the chip this year, okay, I think is gonna begin that next generation of like who's gonna take that mantle from like or get that torch from, you know, teams like the Patriots, you know what I mean? Those dynasty type teams. Okay. Patrick Mahomes has that chance. Okay. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. It's funny. Those are the two that are honestly the only other two that are fucking with him.
Right.
Nobody else. Okay. And it's weird how the NFL made this like, well, I don't want to say the NFL, but like it's just weird how coincidence has it that they have to go up against each other right now. Okay. Personally, for me, I do like Joe Burrow only because he doesn't have to use his legs. I'm more of a Tom Brady, that traditional quarterback, because that's another thing why, and this is kind of long, but that's another thing why the Ravens don't want to pay Lamar. You know what I mean? Like, you're using your legs, dude. Going forward, it's not going to be sustainable. And also winning games, dude. Like, those quarterbacks who are winning all the chips, they're sitting in the pocket, they're throwing it. How many chips did Donovan McNabb win? Michael Vick, all them dudes that are running around, all the dudes that are winning the chips, the drop back, quarterback type dudes. If you really look at it, Joe Montana won, however many he won. Ben Roethlisberger too. You know what I'm saying? Who else? Aaron Rodgers got one. You know what I mean? Two from Peyton Manning. All these guys drop back passes. So I will agree with you, Dell. Right? Bengals are going to win this game. And to me, it's crazy because the Bengals are going to win this game. Okay. And if that happens, though, and Joe Burrow goes back to like, you know, the AFC Championship, right? After they win this one, dude, like, I think he's better than I agree with y'all. I think it's crazy, but I agree with y'all, man. Like after going there, you gotta say, yo, he's either at the same level as Patrick Mahomes or better. He just gotta win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So yes. I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I think the score is gonna be now. This one's gonna be a wild score too. It's gonna be a good game. I don't think it's gonna be as ill a game as like the Giants game and all that. Like this one might not be. Because Josh Allen might just blow it for him, honestly, with them interceptions. I'm going to go with Bills 28, Bengals 38. Weird score, definitely. Okay. But
yeah, okay.
The Bengals honestly got screwed by the NFL, man. Like, they should honestly have a home game for this game because this game it's not being played. It's
a neutral site.
Is that a neutral site or is it at the Bills? I think it's at the Bills. Yeah, see, I think that's bullshit because the Bengals were gonna win that game. They had the lead and they were probably gonna win that game against, back when DeMar Hamlin got injured. But then because of all this whole thing in the NFL massaging everything for the Bills, now they're out of a home game in the playoffs. They gonna show the NFL F you. I don't know, man. It's just tough. It's a tough situation for the Bills to be in because they have to win. The NFL wants them to win. They're not gonna win.
All right. I'll go. I'm gonna go before Rick. Damn. All right. So yeah, TG pretty much touched on a good point that I was gonna get to. As far as the Bengals being angry, just about how that was complete bullshit. There's no way that you set up a neutral site for a potential Bills Chiefs matchup and then just completely ignore the Bengals, who looked like they were pretty much on the verge of going up 14-3 before in Buffalo against before that situation. So that being said, now I'm approaching it from a betting mindset. Oh God, this is another one that I've been struggling with this week because I want to go with Cincy. I want Cincy to win the game. I'm going to be actively rooting for Cincinnati. Which oh God, man.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
This is hard. Damn, I'm gonna go with.
Thinks about it. I just want to throw out. TG makes a good point about running QBs. Like Joe Burrow takes enough shots in the pocket with all the sacks he takes, and like Josh Allen, at some point, one of those he's gonna get popped by a linebacker or a D lineman when he's out there trying to hurdle and stuff. It's gonna get ugly. So it's gonna because he can't run like the way he ran that first play. He can't do that every game of the playoffs and expect to like. Not have a turnover or not detriment to the team, but I'll throw that out there.
I'm gonna go Buffalo 31-27. I think NFL wants to capitalize off that that dome matchup that they're selling a bunch of tickets for. I'm gonna stick with that angle.
NFL definitely would love that to happen.
How does the game wrap up? Is that a game-winning drive? How does that game?
Maybe Buffalo take. It's going to be a back and forth game. Multiple lead changes. I can see. Maybe Buffalo scores. Buffalo takes the lead maybe with like 7 minutes left, and then the Bengals maybe get a turnover, game sealing turnover by Buffalo, like type shit.
Okay, so close but not down to the wire.
I mean, yeah, it'll not down to the wire, not down to the last play, but a good game.
Like it won't be like the Giants and like the Giants game, you know what I mean? But it'll be like still like an ill game.
TG made up his mind that game is just gonna be crazy.
Because that game, because I feel like the teams are so evenly matched. Like the Bengals and the Bills, it's an even matchup, but on some real. The quarterbacks, though, like if you look at Joe Burrow, he will throw a pick, but Joe Burrow is like less prone to the turnover, right? But he can still hit you with that big play. You feel me? But Josh Allen is ill as hell. It's not that long ago, that last season, right? Wasn't it last year that him and Patrick Mahomes had that epic whatever game or whatever? So I haven't forgotten how ill Josh Allen is, but dude, he is prone to the turnover. Whether it's fumbling the thing, whether it's throwing the pick, or even God forbid hurting himself trying to run over somebody. You feel me? So like the element of Josh Allen is just such a wild card. I know what I'm getting from Joe Burrow. So it's just like,
okay. So Rick, I feel like Rick's been quiet. What you got up your sleeve for this one?
Y'all said what y'all said. I have Cincy as my Super Bowl pick, so I got Cincy. Yeah.
Wow.
So you think he's better than Patrick Mahomes then too? Quarterback?
So I look at it. This is how I look at the game going to shape out. I don't trust Buffalo secondary. I look at Buffalo secondary. I think it's very it's very shaky. I feel though is that if Tua played last week, that could have been your 7 beating a number 2 seed.
That's a great point. I think you made that point last week too.
Yeah.
I wasn't messing with that, but that was a good point.
Yeah. So I look at it like I don't trust. I don't trust their secondary. Josh Allen has been turnover happy, and also I feel those that you got to also look at this is Kent Dorsey's first time as an OC in the playoffs. So and then and then also Dayball was their coordinator last year. So that's a big factor when you're talking about experience and play calling, especially when it comes to playoff wise.
Facts. Dayball was their OC last year.
Yeah. So when I look at it and I look at, they've had inconsistent play from their wide receiver. They seem to be just like chuck it deep kind of team. So I look at it and those little lulls that they be having, they can't have against Cincinnati. And I feel like Cincinnati, they battled, them and the Ravens, they're always gonna have tough games. It's always gonna have tough games. I feel like they got a monkey off their back, and I feel those that like they're gonna come out and let's say there's gonna be a game where you're gonna be like, what the fuck? So I'm gonna say 31 to 17.
Wow.
31.
Damn. Yikes.
Wow.
I don't know about
I know
that.
we all been getting on.
Rick's diatribe got me wanting
Like,
to change my pick.
Let me just stick up for Josh Allen in this regard, because last week he was throwing it deep a lot, but he was also trying to take advantage of the matchup. Like Miami kept blitzing and being in man coverage, and he was like, all right, we're going to beat you deep. And a lot of times he was connecting, but it was a difficult play to connect on consistently, and I think that's what kept Miami in it, but damn.
I just don't think he's as smart as Joe Burrow. I don't think he makes as good of decisions as Patrick Mahomes. I think that's the difference between those quarterbacks and those teams. Like the quarterback position. You feel me?
Going.
And to your point, TG, as far as in the running quarterback, I think that you love the legs, and you saw what happened with Justin Fields this year.
His legs are amazing.
But you're talking about a shoulder injury now that he couldn't finish the season. So I think that you have to pick and choose when you do run.
And he's young.
But yeah. So going into the last game, you have Dallas and San Fran.
Yep.
D, you was talking about D. I think you should lead this one.
Yeah, because D has 11. Yeah, D, who you got?
I'm going with the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
I'm going with the Cowboys, man.
Wow.
I think it's so when what I'm about to say, don't get it confused. I think it's their year. I'm not saying they're gonna win the Super Bowl. When I say I think it's their year, I think it's they're finally there for real. Like I think they're for real. I feel like Stephen A is I feel like these motherfuckers are watching Stephen A. Smith on First Take. Talk shit about them. And I feel like they're I'm dead ass too. I'm dead ass fucking serious.
Right.
I think they're using that. I think they're gonna
cannot
use
be
that
using
as
Stephen A. Smith as motivation to win a Super Bowl.
I mean, he disrespected their pops. He said to his pops, like, Dak's throwing 2 picks. Like,
nah, but from I mean shit, X's and O's standpoint, damn. I mean,
you don't think it's a coaching mismatch, a head coaching mismatch at least?
ooh.
They have Dallas has good,
Shanahan?
right? Dallas has really good coordinators, OC and DC. But I'm talking about the head coaching matchup between Shanahan and right, because the rosters probably cancel each other out because
they definitely, as far as I'm 100% with you there. I think this is a talent wash. I think it's gonna come down between Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott.
Okay.
At this point, I mean, forgive me for trusting the guy that's started in more than 5-6 NFL games.
Right.
I think the Cinderella story ends for Brock Purdy. They get after him. What's his name is going to draw up probably maybe a little blitz happy scheme. I think he's just going to be seeing ghosts the entire game. And I would love to be wrong. Trust me. I hate Dallas, but I think they got a good team. I straight up think they have a good football team. Tony Pollard is a monster.
Right.
Tony Pollard is a fucking monster. CeeDee Lamb is an animal. T.Y. I'll even throw in another. T.Y. Hilton catches a bomb. How about that?
He's gonna be due for one of those, honestly.
T.Y. Hilton's gonna catch a bomb. I'll even throw that.
What score and how does it wrap? How does that game come to a close?
Oh, score. My bad. We'll go. Damn. 24. 24-20.
Okay.
And that's game-winning drive or just?
I mean, not necessarily, but a pretty. Damn, you got me wanting to change my score now. All right, I'm gonna go 31. And also, I mean, you don't think they got a bad taste in their mouth from last season, from last year's wild card game. 31-21, pretty double digit.
This team, they lost to the 49ers last year, right?
Yeah,
they ran out of time.
I think this what was the score? I think it was like 24-17. I think, right? What's the score?
Something like it was a one score game.
It was a close game, but it was like lower scoring, I think. But dude, I like what you said. Personally, I feel like this year there's 4 teams that are actually Super Bowl, like they look like Super Bowl rosters.
Yeah.
And it was 23-17 last year. Yep.
It was 23-17? Okay.
Yep.
So I think this year, right, there's truly 4 teams that have Super Bowl rosters. Okay. 49ers, okay. Dallas, they happen to be playing against each other. Okay. Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, all right, and then the Bengals.
Wow, no Eagles.
This year.
No Bills or Eagles.
I think the Bills had a Super Bowl roster last year. They lost their biggest piece, the OC.
I thought
Miller too. Damn.
I think their roster is ill, but like, dude, they're missing a key piece. And I put your coaching as part of your roster. Okay.
Okay.
So I think totality, I think those 4 teams, this year. Next season, it obviously changes every year. But just looking at it, this year, I would say those are like the Super Bowl like contender rosters. So when you look at it, unfortunately, two of the teams are playing each other today, 49ers and Dallas, right? So this game is definitely going to be an ill game. Dallas has a Super Bowl roster, right? Which is why I agree, like, yo, it could be their year. I think truthfully, it could be 4 teams' year this year. Okay. But man, McCarthy, dude, I don't know. It's hard to trust him. All he has to do, like so he's not a play caller, okay? And he's not a defensive coach. All right. So all he has to do is manage the game. That's literally his job. And he's kind of bad at that. All right. The team had them performing, I personally think, because of like their roster. And they do have good coaches, though. They got an ill DC and they got an ill OC. Now, Shanahan on the other side, he's an ill head coach. What you think, D?
My bad. No, sorry. I was talking to Danielle.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, I got it. I think that it's hard. This is a tough game. I mentioned either last week or week before that there's questions, about the 49ers, whether who they played. Have they, played, if you look at their roster, is their win streak flawed?
Sure.
But TG brought up a point as far as in coaching with, because Shanahan has you saw the Super Bowl and you also saw both Super Bowls. You're talking about the Atlanta Super Bowl when he was OC of the Falcons, and you're talking about the Super Bowl against the Chiefs when he was up, and he starts to, go away from his running game. And maybe, the fact that he has, McCaffrey, he can sit there and say, I trust my running game. Yeah. So I think, I think that the 49ers pull it off. I think the 49ers pull it off. I think that because my Super Bowl pick is going to be them versus the Bengals.
Okay.
So I think that Brock Purdy, he's not going to lose you the game. I think he does enough. And I feel those that the Niners defense is going to, force Dak. They're going to force Dak into, a couple turnovers. Yeah.
And because he didn't turn the ball over last game, which was one thing that really helped them. This game, do they turn him back into?
He's getting a turnover this game, at least one. Okay. What's your score, Rick? And then TG, give us your score too. What's your score?
So it's going to be, because they're so talented. I think that a lot of times people will be looking at, there's going to be something like they were last year. I think it's going to be something of I'll go like 20, let's say 23-27.
Oh, wow. Okay. San Fran. Okay.
Yeah.
And is that last minute drive? Is it?
I think that it'll be, it could be a situation where you see Dallas going for it on 4th down and them ultimately not getting it at the end of the game, and
I was like,
San Francisco just turn over the ball 1 down.
And then TG, what was your score for that?
So for that game, I'm gonna go with 49ers winning that.
Mm-hmm.
For the score, see, that's tough. It's tough because I feel like Dallas can definitely score the ball, but in order for the 49ers to win, they can't let Dallas score in this game. I don't know how many points Seattle, right? Yeah, like I don't know how many points Seattle scored.
TG said, if you want to win the game, you got to score more points.
You got to score points, right? And you got to stop the other team from scoring more points. Facts. Well, they can't let it be a high scoring game. We'll say that. Like if it's going to be a shootout, I feel like a shootout favors Dallas. A lower scoring game favors the 49ers. That's basically the point there. But I'm gonna go with the same scores last year, 23-17.
Wow. Oh my God, Dallas would be so tight.
Right? Yeah.
So I have it as a close game as well. I think it comes down to a game-winning field goal. That should already tell you who my pick is.
Damn.
San Fran. I don't know how that kicker still has a job in Dallas right now. I don't know how that kicker didn't get cut.
You can't cut him in the playoffs, though. Who you gonna bring in? Some dude off the street? You know what I mean? Like that's a tough
Cinco, like sign anybody.
He was actually a pretty good kicker on the season.
He was, but you missed 4 extra points, bro, in a row.
I don't know if you can just chalk that up to the yips, because if you're talking about a game now where if you're going back and forth with the Niners and you're missing field goals, it gets to it. It gets to it.
And
actually, he wasn't even missing field goals. He was missing extra points.
No, but that's what I'm saying, like extra points. But this also goes into the idea of McCarthy managing the game, because now is it a situation that you sit there and say, I don't trust you anymore.
I wasn't even going for it.
Go for 2.
Right.
Facts. See, right? A good coach will recognize the situation.
And the thing is, what if there's not a defensive breakdown on 4th and 4 where Dak has a wide open touchdown and that backfires, and all of a sudden it's 24, was it 24-14, whatever, like. You're giving the Bucks life at that point, and then if they were to lose that, everybody's on McCarthy. Anyway, I think the kicker, the difference in special teams could be the difference here. I agree with TG that a lower scoring game favors the Niners. D brought up a good point about kind of Purdy coming back down to earth, but I think Shanahan's going to scheme for him to have enough dinks and dumps to where they offset that pass rush. I still think the pass rush is going to get after him, but I have this one being San Fran 24, Dallas 21, with San Fran winning on a long game-winning field goal. I have Dallas as missing some kind of opportunity in there. So that 24-21 is probably going to come with Dallas missing a 50-yarder at the half or something along those lines. I think either special teams or some kind of coaching malfunction on McCarthy is the difference here. So I got San Fran taking that one.
You're all Niners.
Yeah. So I mean, I know that we're getting close to the end. Some news just came out like as of recently. This hour, Ed Reed's not going to be the head coach at Bethune-Cookman.
Wait, say that again?
Ed Reed's not going to be the head coach at Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, did he have some bizarre comments or something?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Yeah. I think he was complaining about as far as in the condition that his office was left in, and just things that he had to do, and he didn't even have his contract signed yet. And I guess they just both kind of parted ways, and he won't be head coach there. So,
they would not ratify the contract. Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you saw. Go ahead. Because the top cornerback recently flipped. He was going to go to Miami. Now he's going to Colorado with Deion. So
Deion's a different breed, man. Deion's a different breed.
You should get the top cornerback every year, though, honestly.
Yeah, but I look at
it's been back-to-back years he's done it.
Yeah. I look at Deion, and I look at the way that he's recruiting and also just who he is. You're going to see it's a copycat type of situation, but you can't replicate who Deion is and what he does. A lot of coaches can't do that, and you see with the social media, and that's what the kids like. They love to see that. They love.
His name is Coach Prime. They call him Coach Prime.
He's got his own TV show on Amazon.
They call him Coach freaking Prime, bro. Like,
yeah. So I mean, I look at it and just like, the swag alone, and then also, and I think that a lot of people are looking at it, it's like, oh, it's Colorado. And there was a point in time where some of these schools weren't what that school was before. Like one of these schools weren't these top schools. So I think that if he continues to do what he's doing, and like players will follow, players will come. They just got to win games, and they will come.
Right.
And to give a little more light on that Ed Reed situation, like a part of it is the lack of funding at HBCUs. Their athletic department budget is around 15 million. And like where Ed Reed, his alma mater, Miami, they've just released plans of having 162,000 square foot football operations center that's going to cost more than 100 million. So it's also like the lack of resources that are in the HBCU program.
Is he stepping down or
he's just good. He was signed for 25 days.
He knew that before. He knew all of this before.
I was gonna say, like, right, all this must have been discussed. Like, this just seems like a weird situation. Like,
yeah,
it's weird. If you look, when Dion got hired, he didn't sign his contract until probably like a couple weeks after. I think like they announced that, he was going to be the coach, but then they had like, I think a board had to vote on if they agreed to pay him that much. And that's when he ultimately signed his deal. So I guess it was some kind of situation. And then also the recent comments that he had on, IG, I think that just didn't help. And I guess they decided that they let's part ways.
Yeah, the end of his quote is says the university won't be ratifying my contract and won't make good on the agreement we had in principle, which had provisions and resources best needed to support the student.
Oh, I see what happened. They lied to him. They probably told us something. Yo, we're gonna do this. We're gonna take care of y'all. Don't worry. And then all of a sudden, wait, but I thought we gonna get. Oh, wait, we can't get. Wait, actually, all right, nah, we can't get the same. What we discussed. What's going on here? Am I really about to sign this? Yo, man, you gotta sign or what's going on? I'm sorry. I know things changed. All right, you gotta sign this contract. This is what it is. This is how much we got for you. Are you taking it? And he's like, you know what? Sorry, thank you. I'm out of here. It probably came down like that. Like, you feel like. It's crazy. Like in a matter of a couple of weeks, they probably said we have we got like $15 million less or whatever the budget was. Like crazy. Like, but
yeah, no, that is. I mean, to your point, Del, that is definitely true. I mean, when you looked at Jackson State's budget as far as for recruiting versus what Dion has with Colorado, it's very different.
Wasn't Dion coming out of pocket to hold down some of the team? Like, didn't they have like they had a time where like they had some sort of like, I don't know, like disaster or something?
Yeah, there was
down
no
in Jackson.
running water.
And then literally Dion had to get his players in like hotels or something. And like I think Dion was the one paying for that, like because he's Dion. But it's like that's ridiculous. Like that's what the school is there. These are student athletes. You know what I mean? But hey, man, like that's the difference between those bigger schools. I seen an episode of $1 Million Worth of Game, right? You got Wallow and Gill, and they were interviewing Jalen Ramsey on that, okay, cornerback from the Rams, and they asked him the question: would you go, seeing how Dion and everything going on with HBCUs? Would you go? Because Jalen Ramsey went to Florida State, okay, same school as Dion. So they asked him, would you go to an HBCU if you had to do it all over, if you were a top high school player coming out right now? And Jalen Ramsey was like, straight up, nah. He's like, I'm going to Alabama. They got the resources for me. He's like, I'm not going to HBCU. They don't have the resources, okay? I'm going to Alabama. And he was frank about it, you know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is, I think Dion was a once in a lifetime thing, right? And it was ill what he did for HBCUs. You couldn't expect him to stay. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't going to stay. They wasn't going to get the funding. He had to dip.
Yeah.
I think his salary was like under $1 million or something like that.
Yeah, it was under $1 million. Also, too, though, is that I felt those that Dion felt. And we all see it when we're at prospective jobs. When you feel like you're capped, you reach a certain ceiling, you're saying, hey, there's not much more I can do here. I'm going to leave. I'm gonna leave. And I think that he broke down a point of when those teams go play the Floridas. I think Alabama State played UCLA this year, and they got paid $1 million. If they go charter the team there, that's money they have to pay for. They're flying West Coast, so they're not going to stay. Are they going to just stay one night? Or are they going to stay a couple nights? So you got to pay for the hotel. After all the money that UCLA pays you, you end up owing money.
Yeah.
So then it becomes
it
becomes a point where it's like, is it worth it? And then also when you're talking about jumping,
it's like hustling backwards.
Yeah. So if you're jumping to a Power 5 school, you can't, as a football team, do that, by yourself. You have to take all athletics. So that's why he was saying, is the basketball team ready? Is the baseball team ready? Are all these other teams ready to jump into said Power 5? It can't just be the football team. So that's why I think that he came into it saying, oh, I'm going to come build up the Jackson State, HBCU, this or that. But then I think that he saw the economics in the situation. And he's like, I can't, it's basically
his vision was too big
it.
For that school, man. Yeah. His vision was, for that school in particular, his vision was too big, but his vision was too big for HBCUs in general. Like, but until they get the funding, until they get actual resources, they can't compete with an Alabama. They can't compete with these schools. So Deion, you still got a African-American prominent head coach. Now he's in Colorado, what is the Pac-12 or whatever. He got that. He got the recruits coming. If he has the more success he has, it's not like it takes away from HBCUs because he left. It's still going to be good for, the whole African American, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Because we still have a good African American face who's doing well. You know what I mean? In coaching. So.
There hasn't been an African American coach.
I mess with Coach Prime, dude. I support.
There haven't been an African American coach who won a national championship. So, at the end of the day, though, is that crazy. So that's exactly. So I think at the end of the day, when you start to look at it, I think that he brings a different element to recruits that he just got there a month and a half ago, maybe that, and the way that he has rejuvenated Colorado, he's gotten kids that top players are putting them in their top 5 list, and this is totally different from what they were. They were 1-11 last year, and you're talking about you got the top 2 corners from the last 2 years. I just think that I think the sky's the limit for them. I think they will they will improve, especially with the USC and UCLA leaving. So
not like we're in Alabama.
Sorry guys, I forgot to mute.
Yo, this has been a great conversation, fellas. Yo, I'm gonna have to head out though.
Let's wrap it up. Shout out to UCLA. I'm seeing an article that says we're ranked number 1 after our 13-game win streak. I'm not seeing that everywhere.
Before
basketball.
Yeah.
Before we get off, Dan, we didn't even touch on NBA, but do we got like a 3-minute slot to like Rash Dell for his outrageous take that he had yesterday?
Oh, TG. All right, can you give us so? All right, I'll break it down.
TG, you got to stay on for 1 second.
Yeah, you got to stay with it. All right, so sorry.
I think that honestly, I think that we should. I don't think that it's 3 minutes that you can sit there and. I think that if we can
I get TG's thoughts on it though.
Well, I don't think that we can get his thoughts. It's gonna be it's a long conversation.
Nah, but real quick, and before I get though.
So just the topic was that Dame could have won at least 3 of the 4. I believe that Dame on the Warriors, kind of looking at the finals, more so looking at the finals. We started breaking it down more, but looking at the finals that the Warriors are in, if you put Dame on those same teams, he wins 3 out of the 4 finals. Steph Curry wins. Who's to say he doesn't win the last one? But I think he wins both with KD, and he wins the one in the first one when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love went down. And like D and Rick, well, they were making the point. Obviously, Steph Curry's the best shooter. He's better. than Dame. But I was saying like Dame was still good enough, close enough to get it done. And like all we gotta look at is Steph is better than Kyrie, but got outplayed by him. But I feel like that's gonna start a fireball. What's your thoughts, TG? And then I'll let D and Rick jump in there too. And yeah.
So you're saying just replace replace Steph with Dame, just drop
on those same Warriors finals teams, yeah.
I mean, but we can do it statistically. Like, because Dame was in the
Dame's
playoffs
numbers that year. His numbers that year, he had like 25 points per game. He was shooting like 38% from three, 89% from the free throw, and he had like 7 assists. That was kind of
in the playoffs, though. I'm sure he was averaging like probably close to 28, 29 that season, maybe. So if you just look at what he was putting up in the playoffs for his own team, you know what I'm saying? When you put him on the Warriors with ill teammates, he might be putting up better numbers than that. So, like, honestly, I don't know that when you just look at the math, how could they not win the same amount?
So
you know
I'll give his playoff numbers and then D and Rick jump. But his playoff numbers in 2015, they actually went down a little bit. He only played one series. That was 5 games. So he had 22 points. He was shooting 40% from 3. No.
Interesting. That's lower than I thought.
Yeah, 40%.
Is he hurt?
Sorry, let me make sure I get the numbers right. 22 points overall, 5 assists when you round up, 78% from free throw. His 2% was 50%. His 3% was low. He was 1 for 6. So that was like 16%. So that was outlier. Yeah.
Okay. That's definitely being outplayed by Kyrie Irving. I personally thought like, that explains
actually my fault. That's the wrong year. I was looking at 2014, 2015. And 2015, 2016 is 26.5 points in the playoffs, 6 assists, 91% free throw, 39% from 3. So his numbers actually did shoot up a little bit. You're right, TJ. And he was shooting damn near 10 threes a game.
Right. That sounds more like Dame Lillard. But yo, I got a dip though. But I just think based on the math, I don't see how they couldn't win the same amount. You know what I mean? Like, so long as the dude isn't being overmatched by Kyrie. And I mean, look at Kyrie's number. What was it? 27?
Kyrie was down in 2015.
Right. So yeah, like based on the math, I don't see how they couldn't, because that team, they've been stacked, man. Like,
you're looking at the wrong year. The year that Dell's talking about, 2014 to 2015, was the year the Warriors won the first chip. So that's the year that you have to go by as far as him with Dame. The next year, yes. 2014, 2015. Yes, that was the first year that the Warriors won the chip.
All right, well, let's let TG go. Yeah, give y'all thoughts on it though. Let's let TG go, and then we could definitely discuss this one.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna go. That's why I knew it was gonna continue. That's what I'm saying. I was gonna go.
Yeah, we could do
it. Yeah, all right, let's do that. Yeah, we gotta get. But we know we're gonna get to NBA as the NFL wraps up. But yeah, that's a good one.
All right, man. I'll see y'all.
Peace.
All right, y'all.